Hey, good morning. It's Levi from Levi's Hard to Kill Training. I was hoping to talk a little bit about the conversation I had last week with Gregory from Lebe. First, wanted just to thank him for his for the opportunity to speak with him on his platform. I got a lot of feedback from people, all positive. You know, those that communicated with me directly, from people that follow me on Instagram or YouTube. It was great to hear the feedback and the positive comments just about the training, what we had talked about, you know, how they may be related to some of the things that we were discussing, and appreciative of some of the tips that were talked about and shared. And so almost all the feedback I got, both from strangers and from people I communicate with, was positive. But like anything, you know, there's going to be some other things that pop up online in the comment section, and I just wanted to address some of those things. It's a little bit easier maybe to do this as a video. I did take some notes, so when I'm glancing down, I'm trying to just remember where I'm at, because there's a few different topics that I wanted to cover. It's more than just a you know, accusation of it's more about addressing the comments or the insinuations that I'm not being honest with some of the things that I talk about. So I'm hoping this video will clear some things up. It'd be easier for me to link this video in the future to somebody else, maybe, as opposed to try to typing everything out, but who knows. I wish I could read comments online that aren't positive about me and just move on, but I just not built that way. I guess I don't have a big enough following yet personally that I can just ignore a lot of that stuff. I don't have most of my videos. Again, the comments are almost always positive, but when I do get the negative or the accusation, I tend to get awfully defensive, and I don't know if that's a character flaw or not, but I do take it personal. And so anyway, Gregory and I had a 2-hour conversation. It was a lot of fun for me, and again, it was almost all positive. He did do some follow-up videos, some shorter videos for marketing. I hope that they benefited him, just because it was such a great opportunity for me as well, to reach people that don't normally follow me, don't know who I am, or aren't familiar with my style of training. So it was awesome to talk details about some different specifics about some of the training that I do, that I like to use for myself and some of my clients. So he made a couple of different videos that were shorter in length, just about a specific workout that I had shared with him, both in discussion in the podcast, and I sent him a link of it afterwards, and then just about the training philosophy as a whole. And I understand that when you take a small piece of a much larger conversation, that context is going to be lost. People obviously did not watch the whole interview or discussion, are now developing opinions based on something they saw that lasted 7 minutes. And so you're going to have a misrepresentation of everything that was discussed. And you're developing opinion based on partial information. And so I get that. I'm not trying to like throw shade at these people. It's just, you know, you should, you know, I'd encourage you to watch or listen to the entire conversation as you're developing these opinions. But some of the things that were said, that the style of training that I was talking about, that I incorporate, that I use myself when I'm not preparing for competition, that's a big thing. You know, when you compare for a GS event, you have to use a lot of specificity. And right now, there's no prep for contest. There's nothing that I have scheduled in the future that I'm preparing for. So this is a lot of my training right now is to help me. First and foremost, I enjoy it. That's why I'm doing it. I've also developed the foundation to get to this point, to do what I'm doing. This is not something, again, that you would just, hey, I've been using kettlebells for 2 weeks and this is a lot of fun and I can swing really well and I like swing, so I'm going to do what Levi does. You shouldn't do that. Not that I'm special, but I've got some experience and I've got some reps under my belt, and you should probably reach out to someone and follow some programming that will, get you to where you want to go, specifically to your goals, not what my goals are. And so, again, some of the comments were, this is not a smart workout. It's too dangerous. It's very high risk. You can't lift ballistics that heavy. It's not safe. And again, I'm not advocating that you need to train how I train. I would absolutely recommend that you take the time to develop a foundation to use these movements. But again, when you're talking about loading, just because I'm using a load that is challenging for me doesn't mean that you use the same loads. Like this isn't hard. We need to add some perspective to our comments. Like, if you see something, when I watch somebody else doing something that I find intriguing and I want to try that, I start where I'm at. One, I might have to start from ground zero. If I was to start a weightlifting journey, Olympic weightlifting journey, snatch, clean, and jerk, I would have to start at ground zero. Just because I've got all kinds of kettlebell experience, putting bells overhead, doesn't mean that I'm capable of just jumping into a weightlifting program with a bar. That would be ridiculous. And then so for me to watch somebody that does that for a living and say, oh, that's too heavy, you're gonna hurt yourself. You sound stupid. So don't make comments like that. I mean, if you have questions, ask questions. Questions are great. Questions will get answered. Making blanket statements because you have an opinion on something you can't do makes you sound stupid. And I guess that's kind of what's irritating with me is my weights might be too heavy for you, so start where you need to start, and that's totally fine. Just because I'm in this video was doing some long cycle with 44s doesn't mean that you can't do the exact same format starting with 16s or 20s or 24s or whatever. So, start where you're at. It's only dangerous. It's only dangerous if you're not prepared, and that means it could be dangerous. But just to throw that out there that it's dangerous it gives people the wrong. If you're a new person and you're going through the comments and you're reading this, oh, this guy says it's dangerous. Whatever. Just be smart. And maybe I'm reading too much into this. Maybe people that do read these comments are far more intelligent than I'm assuming at this video. Some other people, I'm not a professional athlete and this video is for professional athletes. Well, heads up, I'm not a professional athlete either. I took the time to develop this kind of training modality, and I enjoy it. And so that's what I'm doing. You don't have to be a professional. I'm 46 years old. My best years are way behind me. I'm just doing things that I enjoy, and that means you can do it too without being a professional athlete. Somebody else. Most guys, these weights are too heavy. Most guys need 12 to 24 kilograms. That's enough for you to get in shape. Well, that might be enough for that person to get into shape. But the same people that are saying that you only need X amount of kgs, and it's much lighter than what I'm doing. At some point in time, you gotta build up to a load that's going to challenge you, and then you have to use that load that challenges you significantly over time, and then build up your time under tension, your set length, the pacing of a specific length, and then building up the intensity again of the load. If you want change, a lot of people reach out to me because they want to use kettlebells, and then they want to build a physique using kettlebells. You have to build up the intensity that you're using, intensity being load. You have to build up the intensity that you're using in your training sessions to facilitate the change. And that was the whole conversation we were having. My thing right now is and has been, is 2 bells overhead. Like, if you want to get 2 bells overhead, if If you want to make physical changes to your appearance, adding muscle, adding size, adding strength, maybe you need to lose body fat. If those are your goals, and you want to use kettlebells, you're going to have to get challenging loads overhead repeatedly. And that is why I believe the changes that I've made physically at my age, that is the difference. When I really invested getting 2 bells overhead, and again, challenging loads overhead, and you do that by starting with lighter loads, improving your technique, improving your efficiency, increasing the paces that you're going under these loads, and then adding the additional intensity or the additional load to what you're doing. And then over time, increasing that load, you're building that process. So I've been doing this for quite a while, and it's not something you just jump into. And again, if you listen to the full discussion or podcast, I would like to think that was clear, but maybe it wasn't. Anyway, somebody had complained that I work full time, or all of us work full time, and we don't have time to do these kinds of workouts. The whole thing lasted 33 minutes. Like, you've got 33 minutes. I promise you do. Maybe not 33 minutes of hard, intense workouts. Maybe you have a highly physical job, and you just don't. It's summer and it's hot, and you just can't you don't feel like investing the time into an intense or a quote unquote hard workout. I'm not saying that you have to do what I'm doing. Do what you need to do to reach the goals that you need to reach. Most of that's going to come from your eating and your food choices. Eating enough, not eating too much, making the right choices, eliminating ultra processed foods. We all have that. That's going to come from your body changes. Body composition changes are going to come from your eating more than they're going to. Exercise is a major component of body transformation, no doubt. But if you're not doing what you need to do on the nutrition side of things, you can spin your wheels with kettlebells all you want. But again, when it comes down to I just don't have the time. No, you've got the time. You've got the time. You have to make that decision. You have to commit to it. You have to be intentional. The same comment or one right next to it was we aren't snatching 2 bells overhead. Well, maybe you're not. Doesn't mean you shouldn't. Doesn't mean you can't. It just means you're not doing it right now. Maybe you've got too heavy a bells and you can't practice with lighter loads. That's fine. Clean and press them. Clean and squat them. Just, choose movements that you can do well and efficiently and progress from those. It doesn't have to be exactly what I'm doing, but to sit there and say that you don't have time or you don't have the ability to do some of these things because you're a regular Joe, you're not a professional. Anytime that you put those limitations on yourself, expect to stay where you're at. If you want to progress, if you want to change, you will do what's necessary to become the person that you want to become. And right now, like this person was saying, we are happy to complain about who we are and not willing to make the changes we need to make to become who we know we can be. And so, other people, many people, and I get this all the time on my own stuff as well as again, and I've talked about it in other videos. What do I do with the bar that I don't show on videos? I got 2 businesses. I got a family. I'm taking on a whole new challenge in my personal life here, locally, and I don't have time to do other things. I really, really, really enjoy kettlebells. And so that's what I use. And I program my sessions, not including warm-ups, not including cool-downs, not including walking, but my time with kettlebells, I schedule a half an hour, 6 days a week. All my workouts are within, I would say, right now, 25 minutes. Talking about kettlebells, I have a few that are faster, but 25 to 27 minutes on the short end, and occasionally up to 45 minutes if I've got time in my schedule and I want to push it. But legitimately, I schedule that 30, 35, and that's work and rest. And I don't have a a powerlifting or a bodybuilding, program that I follow off camera. I don't have that kind of time. Like I said, I've got 2 businesses. I write programs every day for people. I've got in-house training going on right now. It's just one of those things where, like, just because I'm doing something that isn't familiar to you doesn't mean that I'm lying or misrepresenting who I am or what I'm doing. And it's irritating to me because I take it as a shot at my character, that I'm going to come on here and I'm just going to say that if you train with kettlebells how I train, you can do what I do, and then off to the side I'm a secret closet bodybuilder. It's just absolutely ridiculous to sit there and think that I would go after a demographic of the population, kettlebell sport lifters, GS. There's such a small fraction of people, and almost nobody in my town. For me to go after that section, that subset of people that want to be training. Most people, like the other person said, after a full day's work, they don't want to train for a 10-minute set, a 30-minute set, an hour set, depending on what variation of kettlebell sport they're in. To sit there and think that I'm going to spend all my time going after that sort of person, and then bodybuild on the side or power lift on the side, and not go after those 2 demographics of people that is far more popular here in the U.S. I'd have way more people that would be interested in my programming if I went after bodybuilders. But I'm not a bodybuilder. I don't know the first thing about it. I mean, do I know how to do curls and extensions and squats and deadlifts? Yeah. Do I know how to do that stuff? Sure. Do I know how to program for it? I don't. And I don't market that. I market after what I know and what I'm passionate about. And so it's just silly to think that I go after the small group, and then on the side I do something completely different. I just, and then the other excuses that people give me, well, I can do what I do, or look how I look, or perform how I perform, or whatever, because of my genetics. And I can't argue with that. We're not the same people. Maybe my genetics are superior. I don't know. But you likely don't know either. You likely haven't put the time in, and I don't mean that to be an ass, but you probably haven't put the time in that I put in to figure out who you are, what you enjoy, what you commit to, how intentional you can be. Is it worth changing my diet to support my physical goals? Things like that. You probably don't know who you really are. You've probably settled. Doesn't mean you're a bad person. Doesn't mean you're a bad parent. It just means that you've got work to do, and that's okay. The drugs, I'm getting used to that. It's stupid. If you look at my performance numbers, long cycle is what I really enjoy, clean and jerk with 2 kettlebells. It took me forever. I've been doing GS now for 6 years, and the last 4 focused on 2 bells, or nearly 4 years focused on 2 bells. It's taken me forever, in my opinion. I mean, it takes as long as it takes. I can't rush the process. I can commit to it, and I can be intentional with my movements. I can hire coaching. I've done all that. It took me forever. I had to endure an injury, like most people do that train and compete. It's part of the game. But it in my mind, took me forever to get to where I'm at. If I'm taking drugs, I'm on some of the worst drugs ever, because my performance is while I finally hit master of sport at my body weight, people are crushing me. I mean, I understand that if you don't know what kettlebell sport is, it's hard to comprehend the numbers and understand what's going on. I get it, but I'm not special. This is not I've done very well for me. I'm very happy with my results. Very happy with my results. If I never competed again, and I'm totally satisfied with how my career has gone as a kettlebell sport athlete. I'm very happy, so don't get me wrong. But my numbers are pedestrian. It's not like I'm amazing Barry Bonds of kettlebell sport. I mean, let's be real. Again, going back to the drugs things, like I don't deadlift, I don't squat, I don't bench press anymore. I've given up on using the bar, other than some random things, just for some variety's sake. And I again, very rarely even do that kind of stuff because, again, I'm so happy and satisfied using kettlebells. I don't have a desire to use the bar. I don't have a strong deadlift. I don't have a strong squat with a bar. I don't train those movements. I'm not that strong. I'm barely over 200 pounds. I'm 6'1" or 185 centimeters. I'm generally around 205 body weight or 93 kilograms. I'm not a large man. I'm just not. The frame, if you like my physique, if you think it's got too much, I really don't. When you see me post videos and I look jacked or I look like I'm on steroids or whatever, I'm showing a video of a workout. My body's under tension. Of course, muscles are firing when I've got load overhead and I'm sweaty and it's hot. And I'm showing you, this is part of marketing. I'm showing you like when I look good. Right now in a t-shirt, I look normal. Like if you were to walk up to me in Walmart, you'd be like, hey, that guy probably works out or he's in shape. I don't look like, because I don't take him. There's no need for me to take them. I'm 46. I'm not getting younger. I'm not going to perform any better to the point where this would be. I tell you how much my business isn't going to improve as soon as I hit Master Sport International class in long cycle. Nobody cares. A handful of people online care, and myself. That's it. I mean, nobody seriously. My business does not improve as my performance improves. My business improves when I show that I can get other people to get to their goals. It has nothing to do with, I mean, you know that. I know you know that. Other people, I guess I look like I'm on drugs because I'm not fat. In 2024, if you're not fat, if you're not carrying extra body weight, extra body fat, then you're enhanced. That's the only conclusion I can come to. But then somebody else will say, well, I look like that too, but if you're too lean all the time, then your performance decreases. Okay, I'm not too lean. I'm just not carrying extra body fat. Like my body fat is in healthy ranges. When I compete at 93 kilos, that's my competition weight. You know what I don't like doing? Cutting weight. I wrestled my whole life. I had to cut weight in high school. I was a fat heavyweight in college, but I had to cut weight in high school. I hated cutting weight. I would much rather walk around at my competition weight and eat in a way that can sustain my weight than try to cut for a competition. That's just how my brain works. I'm not too lean. I performed at my best, my last competition, at 93 kilos. That's my walk around weight. And I don't know what else to tell these people. You don't have to believe me, but I am being honest. What he's doing is power endurance, and you can't develop muscle doing what he's doing. Okay. I mean, you can tell me you can't do what I'm doing while I'm doing it. You can absolutely say, you can have that opinion. You can choose to be wrong. That's fine, but you sound dumb. I can absolutely build muscle and strength doing what I'm doing because I'm doing it. You don't have to believe me, but I'm doing it. And other people had said that I built all this prior to coming to Kettle Bells. And so let me just address that, and then I'll wrap this video up. This is getting a little bit ridiculous because I'm just repeating myself now. But at 28, when my dad died, I was very heavy. I was almost 300 pounds. I don't know what that is in kilograms. It's a lot. I was very heavy, very soft, and not healthy at all. That was in 2006. When my dad passed, I realized that I was in serious trouble. I was heavier than he ever was, and again, I just wasn't healthy. And so I had come across Ross Enamite. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name. RossTraining.com, and I bought all his books, and I really invested into. I wanted to forget everything that I thought I knew, because what I thought I knew was not getting me healthy, or at least I couldn't commit to it. I followed his nutrition plan in his book, Never Gymless. And it's more concepts than a plan. It wasn't eat this, eat that, then and now and whenever. It was, here's what you need, here are the changes you need to implement. And that's what stuck to me. I was able to live the life that I wanted to live, excuse me, but making better food choices. I then adopted how he was training. And the book Never Gymless is about, cutting the excuses of needing specialized equipment to be strong and healthy and well. And I bought all of his books and read all of his books. And the guy completely changed my life and my philosophy on training and my philosophy on eating. I am indebted to him 1,000%. After I lost all my weight, I didn't use a single kettlebell at all of my weight loss journey. I lost all my weight from almost 300 pounds down to 216 pounds in 1 year. And at that point in time, I thought that I looked skinnier than I wanted to look. I started lifting weights again. I always enjoyed bench press. I never enjoyed deadlifts. I still would do them. I never enjoyed squats, rarely did them, but I loved the bench press. And so at that point in time, after losing weight, and I was more concerned about how I looked in a t-shirt than any kind of performance. So again, I was going to bench a lot, and I did a lot of pull-ups. But because of using Ross's methods and I used to lose my weight, I did a lot of sledgehammer swings and a lot of burpees and things like that. I continued to do that stuff because that's what I was familiar with, and that's what I got results from. So it was burpees, it was pull-ups, it was burpee pull-ups, it was sledgehammer swings, and bench press, and then the occasional deadlift. I did that for a while. I got bored of it. I thought for a while that I was going to be a weightlifter. I got inspired by some weightlifters online, and I tried to teach myself to snatch, clean, and jerk. And I did, considering I had no real coaching and no real programming, I did fine. I mean, my numbers were very pedestrian, but I was enjoying it. It was something new. Around that time is when I was introduced to kettlebells as well. Once I made the connection with the kettlebells, I gave up on the weightlifting. The weightlifting was not going to ever be a thing for me. I was never going to be good at it. I don't have a good frame for it. I had a lot of injury histories. I didn't address them. I talked about that in the podcast. Kettlebells made sense, and I started again with the hard style. And so if you want, so that's been the last 14 years, and then the last 6 years has been GS, and the last 4 years has been 2 bells overhead. So I am currently, again, like I said, I got down to 216, and then I would sit around that 215 to 225, that 10-pound window up until the last 4 years. The last 4 years when I really focused on 2 bells overhead. And with my arm injury, I had to change some things with my diet, with blood work that came back related to the surgery and all that other kind of stuff. So I got more strict with my diet. I walk around at 205 now. I really believe, honestly believe, that 2 bells overhead with my dietary changes are the reason that I look and move and feel the way that I look, move, and feel. You don't have to believe me. You can say that I built this physique. I said I haven't benched in this building. I'll be in this building 4 years in December. I haven't done a bench press in this building. And I can't tell you how long it was before at my old place that I did a bench press. I've done some pendulum rows here. but I don't deadlift. I don't think I've done a barbell squat in this building. If I did, it was very few and not consistently. It's been a long time, long enough where I don't remember. If you think that me bench pressing and doing overhead squats and trying to be a weightlifter 16 years ago is why I look at a much heavier body weight, again, 15, 20 pounds heavier, is why I look like I do now, and that I'm a liar and kettlebells haven't done anything for me, then we're just gonna have to agree to disagree. But I'm not out here, I've never taken drugs. I don't know how amazing my genetics are. I know my effort is high, and I'm an intentional person, and I'm dedicated to my diet, and I absolutely love kettlebells. I love training with them. That's what I know. And I had a great conversation with Gregory. I absolutely loved it. And again, it's more about addressing the very few comments. And again, I appreciate the overwhelming support and positive feedback. And I'm going to continue to do this. Like, I'm going to continue to train the way that I train. And you can follow along. Look at my YouTube. I record everything. Like, I share everything. I don't always share the details of what I'm doing or the whys behind why I'm doing what I'm doing. But I mean, the formats are there. It's not a secret. I'm not trying to be dishonest. Be as transparent as I can with my training, because it's given me so much. And again, as much as Ross provided me to get to where I'm at, because I still use his philosophies, but I just use them with kettlebells now, or the philosophies that I learned from him. But again, my coach for competition prep, Michael's son, when it comes to the GS methods and programming, again, forever indebted to Coach Michael. Those are the from a training standpoint. Obviously, I've had all kinds of people in my life that have invested time into me, but those two definitely stand out. And I'm going to link the full conversation that Gregory and I had, and then the two videos that were broken up that generated a lot of the comments. And again, overwhelmingly positive. Wonderful experience. And I'm not making this to throw shade at anybody, but just to address the continual comments that aren't true. And when somebody says I'm being dishonest or I'm intentionally misleading people, it's irritating to me. And so that's the whole point to the video. These are strangers, and you're gonna think, Levi, wow, you just wasted over a half an hour of your life addressing strangers that you're never gonna meet, that are living rent-free in your head. And you know what? Maybe you're right. And maybe I just wasted my time. I had time in my schedule today, and so I'm making a video. And anyway, if you listen to this, awesome, thank you. And I appreciate it. And again, if you have questions, I'm more than happy to answer questions. Just don't be an ass when you're asking them. Like, that will get you ignored. But if you want to have a conversation, there's a time and a place that I'm more than willing to do that. Anyway, thanks.